And welcome to an episode of Because Liberty. Today we almost got hacked up by a person that was under the influence of methamphetamine and was had a psychosis going on. He tried hacking us up with an axe. So what happened was we were out shooting some footage for a video that I'm going to be releasing on July 4th. It is me reading the Declaration of Independence around various places around town. We went and shot some footage out in the Highlands, and then we went down into South Kelso to shoot some footage there out in front of a government building that is in South Kelso. Upon leaving the government building, we drove around the block a few times, and while still reading the Declaration of Independence, Brian, what's the last name?
Wait.
Brian LaRehu of the Foot Patrol, the guy that started Foot Patrol down there in South Kelso, the Community Watch, had decided that it would be in his best interest to, apparently, this is what he admitted to the police, to shoot up an 8-ball of meth and then come unglued when he saw me driving past his house reciting the Declaration of Independence. His meth psychosis led him to believe that I was going to be outing him somehow for being a registered sex offender. He used to be a registered sex offender. He is not anymore, apparently. He had gotten into an argument with somebody else on Facebook a few days prior and had somehow decided that when he saw me, and this is again during his meth psychosis, that when he saw me, reading the Declaration of Independence, he took that as a
threat.
As a threat that I was telling the neighbors over a bullhorn about his sex offender registry status.
It's such a ridiculous thought, you know?
I mean,
but that's what happens when you do methamphetamine.
Yes.
Like, don't.
Yeah. So, I got some footage here. Luckily, the whole encounter was caught on security cameras. There was a gap in part of the camera footage that makes it so you can't see where he was swinging his axe. But
you can kind of see it in one shot.
yeah, you can kind of see it in one shot, but there's an area when he was walking around a corner that the cameras weren't lined up properly, and so you didn't actually get to see that part. So.
Oh, it's home surveillance from like across the street.
Yeah.
So
I'll just jump right into what led up to Brian LaRehu of Foot Patrol, formerly of the Foot Patrol. I don't know. Well, I mean, he's probably going to be in jail for some time, I would imagine.
Yeah, it would be pretty busy.
What led up to his meth psychosis? Well, what led up to that was him deciding to put an 8-ball in his arm. That's according to the Kelso Police Department. So, yes, I'll just play this quick clip here of what he perceived to be me talking about his sex offender status.
Yeah, because we were recording in the car.
Yes.
No, you were recording in the car. So, his claims are not valid.
Not valid in any way, shape, or form. Based in reality, no. He got into an argument. Now, I'm not going to sit here and try to say that I don't bring 99% of the drama that happens in my life. I'm responsible for it. This, on the other hand, I wasn't even party to the argument that he was getting in on Facebook. That was something completely different. He had just decided that me and that person had teamed up once he heard the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah, and we, I don't know.
Crazy. Okay, we'll just go ahead and play this.
The history of the present King of Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained.
Yeah, Curtis.
Did you?
So, let's see, where was it when we drove past his house?
Tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world.
His wife right
He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good.
Hey, Curtis, like,
He has forbidden his governors to pass.
recognize when we were in the Highlands shooting the, scenes for this, they recognized that it was the Declaration of Independence. They weren't taking it as any type of threat to them. I totally thought that Reggie was just saying hello. I had no idea that, Brian fell off the wagon apparently and was once again shooting dope. So, drove past his house doing that, went around the corner because I have a buddy that lives over there and we went to go visit him. And what happened was I went up into the house and Mandy was still in the car, gathering her belongings and whatnot. I was in the house for just a few moments, and we heard somebody screaming at the very top of their lungs.
11.
It was all the way up to 11. He was just so angry.
Stomp running.
Yes, like very much the tweaker psychosis, amount of screaming and stomping around and walking fast with an axe in his hand. We got to near the front door, and I heard my name being screamed, a few times. He was like, "Where the F is Curtis Hart? Where is that libertarian crap?" And then, just screaming at the top of his lungs. Just imagine how loud the loudest person that can yell, and then put that person on methamphetamines. And it was that was what was going on with an axe in his hand.
With an axe, and he's pacing, he's like swinging it in the air like he's gearing up to chop somebody up.
So, I'm going to switch over to this security footage, and we'll just play this in the loop as we talk about it. So, here he comes up, walking up the street. He's
Determined too. Like,
very
look at
angry.
him.
He's got an axe in his hand. Here comes his wife, following him.
What are you doing, dude? You can't go to people's houses with an axe. Watch me. Watch me get 2 felonies.
So Mandy gets out of the car here.
Yeah.
And so what was happening from your point of view? Because I didn't.
Look, so then when he came up to me, that was after he approached me the first time. So he had already swung at me, and I was just frozen up against the car at this point. I think another angle does this particular part more justice, though.
So yeah, what happened from your point of view? Because from inside the house, I could only hear my name being screamed, and he was like ranting and raving so loudly and so fast that I didn't really catch much of what he said at all, except for he wanted to murder me. He was making that very clear.
So what happened? Curtis went into the house, and I was still in the car. I really wasn't paying attention because I was fidgeting around in my purse, and the car was off, and I had both the windows all the way down. And then I just start hearing this extremely loud screams, just angry. So I looked out behind me. He was maybe like 10 steps back from my window at that point. Just, where is Curtis Hart? I want to kill him. Where is that libertarian? Blah. Just every cuss word. And as soon as I realized what was going on, it startled me because it's just something so random and out of the blue that we weren't expecting to happen today.
Nah, not at all.
So I kind of didn't know what to do. I just sat there. I felt like I want to open the car door and let him know that I'm here. And also not wanting him to see me because my windows are down. And anyways, he ended up turning around and he saw me in there and he recognized me as the person who was with Curtis when we drove by. So he came up to my window and when he first started swinging at me, when he was doing it at my window, it was like from a little bit of a distance. Like he couldn't have actually hit my window with it without like extending his arm or taking a step forward. But it was like one of those fake out things. Like, and he's screaming and he says, well, maybe if Curtis doesn't come outside, I can just kill you instead. And then he proceeds to just go on. And this is all at like level 11 volume.
Yeah,
None of it
tell him
is...
the details of what he said.
Yeah, he said, I'm going to chop you up into little bits and I'm going to leave your entrails all over this block. And then after that, I'm going to cut the rest of you up and I'm going to make Curtis watch. And then I'm going to cut him up too. It was just insane.
Yeah, so I had no idea that he was actually doing any threatening behaviors to Mandy here. I was inside the house and I couldn't see outside. I wasn't in front of the door. All I could hear was him screaming and yelling, and I very quickly recognized it to be Brian because I know him and we have had no issues up until yesterday. Literally yesterday, 6:30. June 30th, I was fine. There was a Facebook post that he was arguing with somebody else on. I was not arguing with him.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Unrelated.
Completely unrelated.
Not to him, though. Not to
And
him.
so-
Meth mind.
Now, mind you, I carry a gun wherever I go for things such as this. I did not know that he was out there swinging an axe at my fiance, and had I known that, I very well, most likely, would have went out and shot him.
Yeah,
And
that's what
I
I
would
was
have been
hoping
justified to.
didn't
Very much.
happen, honestly. The whole time it was happening, I was like, Curtis, don't come outside.
Yeah,
Don't
so
come outside.
since, I thought that, he was just ranting and raving about me and not actually, threatening and trying to hit Amanda because she had to duck out of the way.
Yeah, after the car thing, he was kind of doing this like nervous, angry pacing. And so I waited until he turned back around and he was about to walk the other way for a couple seconds. I snuck out of my car. You can see in the video on one of these angles. I kind of like sneak out of my car door and then move to the back of my car and kind of stand like this up against my car door. I was almost just frozen. I couldn't believe the things he said, and it was the first time in my life I'd felt actual potential danger. So it was a completely new experience for me. Apparently I don't react well under those conditions. But anyways, he immediately noticed me getting out of the car. He came around to like the front part of the vehicle. That's kind of where the camera leaves off some things, but I guess there was a little block of space that wasn't covered by these surveillance videos. So he comes up and he's, going on and on still about how he wants to kill me and he's going to kill Curtis and he's going to chop everybody up and how gross it's going to be. And, call me names. And then he starts swinging at me, when I'm standing up against the car, like near the front. And he had a couple little ones, and then, he really went for it, like on that third one. If I hadn't actually moved and gotten out of the way, I would have no face right now.
So this is a nightmare scenario for somebody who actually carries a gun. Being put into a situation where if I would have known the full extent of what was going on, I would have shot him.
Yeah, who wants to live with
so
that?
when I thought that he was just ranting and raving about me, I decided to just stay inside the house, where it would, be a lot safer than approaching a person on methamphetamine with an axe who is screaming that he wants to murder.
Yeah, not safe at all.
And so I stayed inside the house. The homeowner, the buddy that I knew there, told me to stay inside the house and went outside. Immediately told Brian to leave, to get out, because there was a bunch of small children in his house. Brian continued to scream profanities and how he wanted to murder me. And then he basically walked back home, which is only a couple of blocks away. And you could see here, this is his wife pulling up right now in the white vehicle. And she gets out. Her name is Reggie. And what she told you... What did she tell you?
The guy, the homeowner, then we came to the porch, he was telling, Brian, he was like, get the F out of here, get off my property, we're gonna call the police. And then the wife in that white vehicle there, she surprised me even more than him. She seemed like more with it, like maybe she only did half a 8-ball of meth. And so...
when I knew him, like, she wasn't doing that.
Well...
At all.
Her behavior. No one should be okay with this. And so, the homeowner's saying, get off my property. And she rolls down her window and says to him, oh, well, Curtis has put Brian through a lot. Actually.
Nope.
No, not a single thing.
Actually have not put Brian through anything. When I found out what he was on the sex offender registry for, which was, I'd seen his paperwork, he was caught urinating in public down in Texas. So not something that should be on the sex offender registry at all. I asked him about it about a year and a half ago in the height of my Punisher Squad stings, and somebody informed me about his registration status, and so I asked him because I'm not going
in person.
To be, yes, I asked him in person during a community watch event. Said, like, what's up with this thing I'm hearing about you? Because I can't be hanging around anybody with any like child sex offense, anything like that. Being the Punisher Squad guy. So, and he told me, and we were fine. So literally, I didn't put him through anything. Nope. This is not like most of the things I do where I bring it on myself. No, this was meth bringing it on. Mm-hmm. And so she told him that I put Brian through a lot, and then...
Yeah, and I said, so that's an excuse for him to come over and try to murder me with an axe. And she said, well, you're just in the wrong neighborhood, I guess. And rolled her eyes at me, and then she pulled away.
So, yeah, that's what apparently is acceptable behavior in their household.
Savage in South Kelso.
Yeah, I don't understand how... This isn't fun. This is when the drugs aren't fun. You need to stop.
No.
It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's completely just mind-blowing that she would say, well, you guys are just in the wrong neighborhood. Like, thank you very much for that little tidbit of information. I don't care if you started your own community watch, okay? People can go literally wherever they want as long as it's public property. All right? There is nothing you can do about that whatsoever. So telling somebody that they're in the wrong neighborhood and using that as justification for coming at your fiance with an axe, swinging at her multiple times, and claiming that he's going to be murdering me, that's just asinine. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess I was in the wrong neighborhood if I didn't want to, you apparently don't go down to South Kelso if you don't want to run into a methed out axe murderer.
Hey, does it show the video surveillance footage that has a more close-up of my car? You can see that a little bit better. I know that a lot of it played and you only recorded some, but there was one that showed my car better, yeah.
So, no.
Maybe it's this one?
Oh, yeah.
Or is this the one we were...
This is all flipped because it recorded upside down.
Maybe that's it. That's why it looks weird. I like, this just looks more awkward. I don't recall being on that side. It's inverted.
So, yes. So, that's what happened to us tonight. The guy from the Foot Patrol shot up an 8-ball of meth and went into some kind of psychosis and decided upon hearing me reading the Declaration of Independence, he took that as me teaming up with another person on Facebook who got into an argument with him a few days before about his sex offender status. And there you go. That's what happened. It was completely crazy.
Yeah, that was,
very, very unnerving. Especially once I started finding out that he was actually swinging on Mandy.
Yeah, my heart rate was
I didn't have any idea about that.
Sky high. I had this weird, huge rush of adrenaline afterwards. My legs were shaky, my arms were shaky. I had a really hard time even writing the police report because I was just so, almost like convulsing. It was just like that post-fight or flight feeling. And then after that, I just felt exhausted.
So
even though nothing happened. I mean, I just kind of stood there. I had to jump back one time for one particularly good and close swing.
yeah, because he would have hit you in the face with his axe.
Yeah.
If
Just
you didn't get out of the way.
murder
So,
right in the middle of the street. And also, just so you guys know, he was arrested on scene, or back
at
close
his
to
house.
at his house.
it was 2 blocks away. It
Yeah,
was 2
very
South
close.
Kelso blocks. It's not like Longview blocks.
Yeah, and with all the evidence we were able to provide, which was ample, we had video footage of the whole thing, most of it, and my statement. There was 5 or 6 different witnesses.
Yeah.
Not including us, and then.
He admitted to the police that he wanted to murder me, that he would have murdered me if he would have caught up to me, and that he had shot up an 8-ball of meth into his arm.
Yeah, Lord help you. So, what I heard from the officer who had been assigned to this case is that he's been booked tonight with 2 counts of felony harassment. But when that goes to the prosecutor, they are going to look into more severe sentencing because of the nature of the crimes. It wasn't just like he had a weapon and he was threatening me, but the 2 weren't correlated. That's more like felony harassment.
Well, it's felony harassment if you threaten to murder somebody. That's point blank. You cannot say, I'm going to kill you.
He said
If you say that to
15
another
times.
human in Washington State, you're going to get charged with felony harassment, especially if there's if they're able to prove it. If you've got evidence of that, that's that's a big no-no.
Yeah, well, and then, so that makes sense. I was like, they're going for a bigger sentence because telling someone you're going to kill them and then not actually acting on it is entirely different than showing up at somebody's house with an axe and actually trying to kill them. Like, if I don't move, this guy's going to kill me. Huge difference. He just was so aggressive, so terrifying. There will be no bail, of course, because it's a felony. I'm just kind of, at this point, just kind of waiting to hear back. Probably in a couple weeks, maybe after his arraignment. I don't know.
I have no idea.
The system takes so long to process these people. I mean, he'll be probably a few months into his sentence by the time he gets sentenced.
Yeah, most likely. Hopefully. Hopefully he gets into treatment again. Well, I don't know. Like, I'm imagining because when I was hanging out with them, he wasn't using. He had talked about how he had used in the past, but he wasn't using anymore. The last time I had hung out with them, it was about a year and a half ago now. Because it was only about a couple of months that I was hanging out with him. The last time I went over to his house, he was extremely high on meth. His girlfriend had needed to leave town for work, and somebody decided it would be great fun to give him a big bag of dope, and it was just such an odd feeling when you know somebody used to do dope and they swear up and down that they're clean and they don't have a problem anymore, and then you come over to their house and they're very obviously having a problem.
Yeah.
If you're shooting up drugs, you have a problem that you're going to have to deal with for the rest of your life. So yeah, that's just craziness. So glad you didn't get hurt.
Yeah, me too. Anybody. I was worried about getting hurt or murdered. And I was worried about you coming outside and shooting your gun and possibly murdering him.
That wouldn't have been murder. That would have been self-defense or defense of others.
But still,
such a bunch of paperwork that I ain't trying to do this weekend right
bad
before the 4th of
scenarios.
July.
I didn't want you to have to go through having to shoot somebody, even if it's somebody who's about to hurt someone that you love, or you coming out and him catching you off guard. Maybe you didn't hear it,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did hear it because I could, actually. Like,
You can yell like he was yelling.
but I ain't gonna try to, blow up the microphone on my laptop. So, people have heard me yell before on some of my videos, and he was yelling like louder than that.
Yeah, it was
because
so loud.
I
all the veins on his head and face were just popped all the way out. He was just the most mad anyone can be in their whole life.
I've never so the cops didn't say over how long of a period he shot this 8-ball up. He admitted to shooting up an 8-ball that day.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much at a time he was using.
No, the whole thing.
He shot up an entire 8-ball
told
at
him he
once?
got some kind of money today, went and got an 8-ball, and just sat around and did meth all day till it was gone.
Okay, well that's not all at once then. Necessarily. Sitting around doing it all day is a lot different than putting a whole 8-ball into a rig and jamming it all at once.
Yeah, I don't think that was the case.
I don't know.
But
I have no idea. Because,
this happened at 4?
Yeah, it was
4 p.m.?
4 or 5 p.m., something like that. Just absolutely terrifying. When I realized what was going on, because I just heard Brian screaming, and I thought that he was just angry that I was reading the Declaration of Independence, which I was like, one, why are you angry about that?
I know, calm down.
And two, me, this is the kind of thing that I do. There's nothing to get upset about. We're literally driving past, so you just hearing it as long as it takes to get past. Except for if you're on a whole bunch of meth that you shot up in your arm.
Gross.
If you're doing that kind of thing, you get, audio hallucinations, paranoia,
Yeah,
all sorts of bad
paranoia.
things. This is one reason, kids, not to do meth, because you might hear the Declaration of Independence and take that to be a threat against you to the point where you need to pick up an axe and try to go murder somebody who was known for carrying a gun. Literally brought an axe to a gunfight. I didn't leave the house because I didn't realize
his house still.
Yeah, I didn't realize that he was, trying to harm Amanda, or else I would have went out there and shot him dead.
Yeah.
And I would have felt just fine and justified.
Yeah. That was certainly cool.
Most likely wouldn't feel just fine. Be super angry that I have to fill out all that paperwork because somebody decided to do a bunch of dope and couldn't handle the shit.
So the police said the prosecution's going to look at all the different evidence in detail, see what else we can dig up in the meantime, and they're going to be shooting for anything between felony assault and even possibly looking into attempted murder because all the factors were there. He had motives and intent. He had a weapon that was highly capable of killing me. And he took steps to try to accomplish that by, stepping in really quickly and swinging it as hard as he could. I mean, like a Louisville Slugger. He just had this axe ready for my throat. And so, it's all there. I mean, the only thing that makes it not a murder today is that I got out of the way.
Yeah. So this is, just another reason that everybody should be carrying a firearm at all times. We're always together. We're pretty much always together unless she's at work and I'm at work. And even then, we coordinate our breaks, so we take our breaks together every single day. We're together all the time. And so, the thought process was I carry a gun. You don't need to carry yours.
Yeah, and only time I'm not with you is when I'm at work and I don't need a gun there.
Yes, I usually leave the gun with you, if I'm going to go run upstairs in the office to grab something.
Yes.
Because,
really good
or
especially
going into stores.
After now.
Yeah, after now until we get you your own gun.
We get our other gun back.
I guess we need to get our other gun back. Yeah, you need to be able to have some self-defense against crazy people with an axe. Anybody out there advocating for gun control, they're advocating for you to not be safe because this kind of thing happens. This kind of crazy thing happened. Didn't think that this was going to be happening at all.
Gun control can never be a thing. So you're only ever going to get a portion of that. You're going to get good citizen gun control.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the full spectrum because the people who have those guns don't have them registered anyways in their name, and they're not going to just give them up.
So, yes, this is been an episode of Because Liberty with Curtis Hart and Mandy Docksetter. We are going to be signing out. Go ahead and share this video around. It's the the community watch guy. Like, who are the people in your neighborhood?
Yeah.
The dope man's a person in your neighborhood, and the dope fiend's a person in your neighborhood. Especially if South Council is your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good night, folks.
Stay safe.
Go hug the people that you love, because you never know when an axe murderer is going to show up.